Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class for the first intermediate grade. Today we're going to review the last unit we have on the second semester. This lesson will be presented by me, teacher Mazen Harbi, and the sign language by Mr. Fawaz Al-Agil. So let's begin. So our last unit in this semester will be what time do you get up? And we learned in this unit how can we tell time and how can we talk about the activities that we do in each time with different times, and also we show some examples from all around the world. So let's review and remind ourselves with those examples. So the first one here, or the first example here we have is Amal from Jeddah, KSA. She said that she is waking up at 5:30 a.m. and she usually gets up early in the morning. And the second example we have on 7:30 a.m. in Mexico City from Mexico, Alex, who is working and he usually serves breakfast in the morning. And also at 9:30 a.m. in New York, USA, we have Jeff and Rick always take the train to work. Traffic is bad in the morning, so they never drive to work. And also the activities, more activities we have on this page, page 18. At 11:30 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, we have Silso is at school. He sometimes play football during PE. And also at 2:30 p.m. in London, England, we have Bob, who is riding home from work, and he usually goes to work by bike. Also at 3:30 p.m. Madrid, Spain, we have Fernando, who is at work and he always checks his email after lunch. And the last three examples we have learned in the last unit, which is from Cairo, Egypt, we have Ali, who is doing his homework and he usually studies before dinner. And at 7:30 p.m. from Lahore, Pakistan, we have Mr. Zahir Abbas and his family are eating. They always have dinner together. And at 11:30 p.m. from Tokyo, Japan, we have Takeshi, who is going back home and he is a lawyer and he usually works late. So these are the example we had on our last unit, that for each time of the day we have different activities from all around the world. And also we have talked about how can we tell time from looking at the clock. So if you have a look here, here we have this clock, for example. Now it is noon, the sun is rising, and the clock is at 12. So here we call it, either we say it is noon or it is 12 o'clock. Either we say it's noon or it's 12 o'clock. And if we have a look at the other clock here we have, here we can see 6, and on this, the other one is on 12. We can say it is 6 o'clock in the morning, or we can say it is 6 a.m. It's 6 a.m. And with the third clock here we have, it is midnight. So it is at 12 and also, but it's night, so we can call it is midnight or it is 12 at night. Also, other examples of how can we tell time, having a look with at these clocks. Here we can say it is 9:40 at night or it is 9:40 p.m. p.m. And you remember that we said, what do you mean by a.m.? It means morning, and p.m. it means evening. The other clock we have here, it is 7:30 in the evening. It is 7:30 in the evening, or it is 7:30 p.m. And here it is 1:15 in the afternoon, or it is 1:15 p.m. So here are the example on how can we tell time by having a look at different clocks. And now we have learned previously how can we tell time by having a look at these clocks, but how can we exactly ask about time? We only have one question to ask about time, which is, what time is it? What time is it? That is the question that we use or ask people around us to tell us what time or to tell us about time, whether if we have a look at the clocks or maybe a watch or any device that can tell us time. We only have one question, as we have learned, which is, what time is it? And now we have also practiced the pair work, and we said that how can we ask about the people on page 18, the people who had different activities from different parts of the world. How can we make question about them? Is that, for example, we can make question like, what time does Amal usually get up? So we start our question with what time? What time? And then we can ask about any person. What time Amal does get up? What time Jeff and Bob go work? Or what time does Bob riding home from work? We can have as many questions about those people on page 18. Also, if you want to talk about the daily activities, if you want to make questions about daily activities, we will have question like this. What do you usually do after dinner? And here you can mention anytime you'd like. For example, what do you do usually? What do you usually do after dinner? What do you usually do after school, before school, during school? So you can think of many activities as you like. So here are a very important two questions just to help us understand how can we form questions about time and also about the daily activities. And also on page 20, we have talked about the adverbs of frequencies. Like, for example, always, usually, sometimes, and never. And we say that we use those adverbs of frequency just to tell how many times do we do each activity. For example, the activity here that we're going to practice on, which is doing my homework. If you said, I always do my homework, it means that you're doing your homework all the time. 100% of the time you're doing your homework because you used always. But if you use the other adverb, which is I usually do my homework, in this case it's a lot, but it's not 100%. We can say it's 70 or 80% of the time you're doing your homework. And if you use the other one, which is I sometimes do my homework, in this case you're doing it 50% of the time. So it's not a lot, and also it's not a little. It's only 50% in the middle. And if you use the last one, which is I never do my homework, it means that you never do it, 0%. You never do your homework. So this parameter actually helps us to learn how can we, or what exactly the difference between the word always, usually, sometimes, and never. We have learned this, and also we have talked about the time expressions. So by telling time, it's not only about it's not only about clocks or hours. It's also about time expressions that we use during the sentences or when we speak, just to tell when exactly are we doing that activity. For example, time expressions that we have learned on page 20 is like before, after, then, every day. For example, he usually does his homework before dinner. He usually does his homework before dinner. So, what time does he do his homework? The time is mentioned, which is before dinner. So time is not only about hours or minutes or clocks. No, it is also about activities. And also the other one, he always brushes his teeth after dinner. He always brushes his teeth after dinner. So here the word after, or the expression after, indicates or till when exactly does he brushes his teeth. And also, then he watches TV. Then he watches TV. And here also we use the time expression to tell when does he watch TV. So these time expressions are very important just to tell us when exactly do we do different activities. And also we have learned the prepositions plus the time expression that we can use in telling times. For example, those prepositions are at, in, on, and time expressions. So when we use them, when we indicate time, each one of those prepositions has a different function. For example, if we're going to use at, here we have to mention the exact hour or the exact time. For example, I get up at 6 o'clock. I leave work at 5 o'clock. I get home at 7 o'clock. So here we use at just to indicate the exact time. The other preposition we have here is in, and we use in to talk about the periods of the day. For example, I get up in the morning. I leave work in the afternoon. I get home in the evening. So here we use in just for the different periods of the day. And the last one, on, we used on for days. For example, I get up on weekdays. I leave work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I get home on Sundays and Mondays. So here, what is the difference between the preposition at, in, and on? And also we have answered this question, which is about unscrambling the words. And we said that it's very important that you know when exactly do we put the adverb. Does it come for after the verb or before the verb? And we agreed that we use the adverb frequency always before the verb. For example, here we have the expressions or the words in the morning, usually at 7 o'clock, get up, and I. And if we want to unscramble it, we need to put each word in order. So we always start with the subject, I. What comes after it is the adverbs of frequency, usually, and then the main verb. I usually get up. I usually get up. It's very important that we know the order of the sentence. And also we have on page 21 another exercise, which is about talking about the people's daily activity. So we have different pictures, and each picture has a name of the person, and also vocabularies that help us, or words that help us to decide what kind of activity do they do. For example, the first one we have Derek, and the adverb usually, and weekends. And by having a look at the picture of Derek, we can say Derek usually visits his grandfather on weekends. And the first one with Fatima, we said Fatima always studies or reads in the evening. And the number two, Tariq, we said Tariq sometimes cycles or rides his bike in the morning. And with the third one, Adam, we said Adam never goes to school on weekends. And number four, Abdullah, we have the adverb usually, and Saturday, we said Abdullah usually plays football on Saturdays. And number five, Khalid, the adverb is always after school. We can say Khalid always does his homework after school. And number six, Ali and his friends, the adverb is sometimes, and the evening we can say that Ali and his friends sometimes play video games in the evening. So from this exercise we have learned how can we put each word in its right order, especially when we are using the adverb of frequency. And also on page 22 we have listened to a conversation. This conversation was between Fahad and Rayan, and each one of them talking about their activity. For example, Rayan said that I go to the gym, I usually work out for about an hour, and Fahad said that I am learning some difficult karate moves. So each one of them express his activity that he likes using the adverb of frequency. Fahad used I am learning some difficult karate moves, and sometimes we do special exercise. And Rayan used the I usually work out. So it's very important when you talk about the activities, as we said, that you include the adverb of frequency. And also about you, we have asked the same question about you. We said that, tell us, do you take any lessons and what kind, if you're taking any, and what do you usually do on Saturdays? Here, when you want to answer this question, you must mention usually. What do you usually do on Saturdays? You can say, I usually watch football games. I usually do my homeworks. So here, since the question has usually, you must mention usually when you answer. And also, what do you never do on Saturdays? Here also, you should use, when you want to answer, never. You can say, I never play basketball on Saturdays. I never ride a bicycle on Saturdays. You can think as many activities as you like. And on page 23, we have talked about, or we have read two interesting texts about two different students from two parts of the world. The first one was Ahmed talking about his school days, and Ahmed talks about when does he get up and how many classes does he have for the day. For example, he said that each one of we have 6 classes and each one of them lasts 45 minutes, and our school finishes at 1 p.m. And also I am a member of the football club. So Ahmed from Jeddah talk about himself. And also we have another example who is Jose from the Amazon rainforest from Ecuador. He said that my school is in a village on the Aguarico River and I need to get up at 5 a.m. And he said that we have the other grades from 4 to 6 have one room, and grades from 1 to 3 has also one room. And he said we have one generator or electricity, and also we have one computer. So here you can make a comparison between Ahmed's school and Jose's school and also your school, and you can learn how to express or find the similarities or the differences between these two schools. And also we have on page 24, we have read a writing text or an email sending from Japan. And we said that imagine that you have a pen pal from Japan talking about his school. How would you reply to him? For example, here our friend Katyo from Japan talked about his school, and he talked about his school day. What time does he get up, and what exactly should he wear if he want to go to school, and also how many minutes does each class last. He said it's 50 minutes long, and we have a break 5 minutes, and also we help to clean the school. And at the end of this email, he asked you to write about schools in Saudi Arabia. And you remember that I asked you to write similar email responding to our friend Katyo and talk about your school. What does it like? And also how many classes do you have? How many subjects? How many facilities or school clubs do you have? Just write down those information. It's very important to know more about your school. And also in the writing corner, we said that if we're going to use by, we use it for different transportation vehicle. Like for example, by car, we say by bus and by plane. But if we're talking about, if we are walking to some place, in this case, we say on foot. We say on foot. So, and the other one is to. To shows the direction. For example, he goes to school. He goes to the mosque. He goes to home. So here we use to indicate direction toward a place. And the next one, in, it shows location. For example, students meet in their homeroom. And here we use in just to show a location. And also, as we said, that from that task from our friend in Japan, here you can write similar text by answering or by writing down or filling up this chart. Write down what the things that you do before school. We have written example like get up early, prepare my bag, eat breakfast. And what are the things that you do during school? You said that we read our homework and hang out with classmates. And the things that you do after school, play football and do homework before sleep. So you can have similar activities. And the last part we have in our last lesson, we said that the difference between the simple present and the present progressive is that when we're using the simple present, we talk about permanent actions, action that last forever. For example, Saeed lives in Jeddah. This is something permanent. He lives in Jeddah, so this is a permanent. It will never change. And the other one, we use the present progressive to talk about temporary actions that are happening right now at this moment. Like this example, like this one, for example, but he is studying in Riyadh this year. So Saeed lives in Jeddah. This is the permanent status of Saeed, but right now at this moment, he is studying in Riyadh this year. And we did different or answer different exercises about this rule. And now we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.